Good evening, everybody. I will call June 19th, the regular council meeting to order. And I'll just say that I don't always give a land acknowledgement. I like to give it its appropriate. And I think this being Indigenous History Month and the Friday is Indigenous Peoples Day, that it's appropriate that we acknowledge that we are in the traditional territory of the Sioux First Nation within the area of Treaty 3. And that many of the people and communities that come to Sioux for service come from treaties 5 and 9. And I also think I'd like to acknowledge, as I did today at the Sliffna opening, the renaming, some recent events. One, which is I remember provincial Parliament Salamanca standing in the legislature in Ontario and speaking for the first time in any language other than English, being allowed to be spoken to address the assembly. Salamanca spoke in Ojibwe, which I think is a historic event for and very symbolic and significant event for many in our area, in our town, and in our area. Another is to acknowledge the settlement that Lac Sioux First Nation has reached with the federal government regarding the historic flooding of their lands. They've been working on this for decades, and they've achieved a settlement, and I did send them a letter that wished them the best moving forward. And acknowledge that just a few days ago, the Grand Council Treaty 3 and we are in the area of Treaty 3, declared a state of emergency related to mental health and addictions. And we certainly acknowledge the challenge that we all face in terms of that. So just wanted to put that out there at the beginning of the meeting, and let's move on. Let's get started to amendments to the agenda.
Few amendments, I have none. Thank you.
And that the agenda for the regular council meeting be approved as presented. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Boone. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Declarations of pecuniary interest.
Three amendments, I have none.
Thank you. And we have some minutes to adopt. All of these are 2024 meetings. The minutes of the May 15th regular council meeting, May 15th and April 17th statutory public meeting minutes, and the May 1st and April 29th special counting meeting minutes be approved as presented. Mover, Councillor Bowman, seconded by Councillor Van Breda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. And a motion to receive the minutes of the April 2024 Environment Committee meeting minutes. Moved by Councillor Van Breda, seconded by Councillor, I saw that hand there twitch, Councillor Cassidy. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. And we also have a motion to receive the minutes from outside agencies and boards. The May 3rd Northwestern Health Unit Board of Health meeting minutes, April 15th Northwestern Health Unit Special Board of Health meeting minutes, March 28th Northwestern Health Unit Board of Health meeting, March 1st Northwestern Health Unit Board of Health meeting minutes, that they all be received. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Determination of items requiring separate discussion. Grant tractor for new loader backhoe. 7.2, lift of Hold Jam Developments Incorporated Subdivision. 7.3, deeming bylaw 14 1/2 King Street and 16 King Street. Councillor Costco. 7.4, declare a climate emergency. I'm going to, I'd like to, if you can lift that, Councillor Cassidy, thank you. (7.5) An Environment Committee Annual Work Plan. 7.6 Municipal Accommodation Tax Project Allocation Update. Costco. And 7.7 August Council Meeting Date Change. Very good. So I have The items that we've listed are 7.3, 7.4, 7.6,
Good, that's 7-7.
7.7.
It's,
Okay.
yeah, thank you.
So right backwards, 7.7, 7.6, 7.4, 7.6. Very good. A motion to adopt the items not requiring separate discussion, item 7.1, 7.2, 7.5. Moved by Councilor Van Breda, seconded by Councilor Bone. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And we'll move on to staff reports. So we'll start with 7.3. Deeming bylaw 14.5 King Street, 16 King Street, the council authorizes the passing of bylaw number 60-24, being a bylaw to deem the lots located at 14.5 King Street and 16 King Street to be not to be within a registered plan of subdivision. Moved by Councilor Cassidy, seconded by Councilor Costco, and discussion starting with Councilor Costco.
I just lifted this because I noticed that there's already a building on this. So I was just wondering how procedure works, like we're asked to combine the two lots, that there's already, we're well into the development of the building. I'm not saying that I'm against, I'm definitely for building and the fourplex and that, but I'm just questioning the procedures. How do procedures usually work with this, that it comes to council this late?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, normally this would get noticed well in advance of the development of the site, but unfortunately it didn't. So we're dealing with it now.
So the concept of it is we're combining the two lots so they get one tax.
It's basically, so it's a single lot that was at some point, at some time split for two homes at one time. And now it's just a matter of returning it to a single lot.
So are there any other like lots out there in the same situation, or is this just an anomaly?
This is an anomaly, through Mayor Lawrence. Sometimes we have the information, sometimes we don't. Sometimes what we have is different from what the land registry has. So sometimes these things are discovered later in the process just because we don't necessarily have all the right information. So yes, I know in Hudson, there's definitely some of these scenarios. The issue more in Hudson though is more about properties that aren't deemed, where people have multiple properties. You know, so they might have a septic field on one property and a house on the other, and they're not deemed. So that's something we're kind of working on, figuring out which lots these are and eventually deeming them so they're to be single lots.
Anything further, council? And I'll call a vote on the deeming bylaw. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And 7.4, declare a climate emergency, a rather long one. How's your voice tonight?
As you well know, Mayor Lawrence, I'd love to hear. I'd be happy to read the resolution for council's consideration.
You can do a duet if you want, or back and forth. But you go ahead. Thanks.
Choral read. Whereas climate change is currently contributing to billions of dollars in property and infrastructure damage worldwide, stressing local and international economies. And whereas climate change is currently jeopardizing the health and survival of many species and other natural environments worldwide, stressing local and international ecosystems. And whereas climate change is currently hurting human populations worldwide and within Northwestern Ontario by exacerbating health impacts related to heat, stress, air pollution, food and water security, proliferation of insect-borne disease, and through the rise in sea levels and other extraordinary phenomena locally, like intense wildfires, low water levels, flooding and extreme weather, precipitation, wind events. And whereas there is and will be a significant impact on economic development within our immediate area upon the forestry, mining, and tourism sectors due to climate change. And whereas due to the destabilization of historic climate norms and a rise in the intensity and severity of extreme weather and precipitation events, Sioux Lookout area, including the traditional lands of Lac Seul First Nation, can expect the high likelihood of flooding, shoreline erosion, high wind events, and forest fires, which will have negative consequences for the area ecosystem and community members' health and resilience. And whereas millions of dollars of infrastructure damages by extreme storm events and increases in freeze cycles are damaging our roads and subsurface infrastructure. And whereas increases in the incidence of extreme weather can severely impact power lines, which will lead to infrastructure failures, including water sewage treatment facilities and pumping stations. And whereas many municipalities across Ontario and Canada understand the major benefits of and the need to be at the forefront of action on climate change, with many having declared a climate emergency already. And whereas it is necessary not only to reduce carbon emissions, but also to increase community resiliency in the face of climate change, and that these approaches can offer multiple benefits, including improved health and air quality, increased innovation, economic development, and reduced costs in the long run. Therefore, be it resolved that, 1, the municipality of Sioux Lookout declare a climate emergency to deepen the municipality's commitment to protecting our community, our economy, our ecosystems, and reducing our carbon footprint. 2, update our current municipal energy plan. 3, collaborate with other municipal governments, institutions and industry associations to approve standards and protocols that can positively address climate adaptation and mitigation. 4, seek and secure funding opportunities from both internal and external sources for 2024 and beyond to adequately finance climate actions necessary to meet emission reduction targets. 5, commit to putting climate action at the forefront of decision-making, large and small, working to achieve community well-being and resiliency. 6, work with other community stakeholders to educate the public at large about the steps that can be taken by individuals and businesses to reduce their carbon footprint. 7, develop a climate action plan to reduce corporate and community greenhouse gas emissions.
Thank you, CEO. Well done. We need a mover to put this on the table. Moved by Councilor Cassidy, seconded by seconder. May I second? I'll second it to put it on the table. Thank you. And discussion starting with Councilor Cassidy.
Yeah, there's some stuff in here that I believe, like, when you go down to the discussions about the steps that we can be taken in 2024, I think we should update our 5-year emergency plan or energy management plan, sorry, to compile energy usage that can be traced back to cost savings and efficiencies in the municipality. I think looking at funding for different opportunities for improving our infrastructure and assets is always good. But I don't think this is in our purview or I don't think anyone here has a good enough understanding to speak to everything in that resolution. And I don't think it's something that we should be passing here. I think there's a lot of, this is what you need to believe, or this is what it is, and trust this and trust that. But there are other opinions out there and other scientists that counteract some of these claims. And I don't think it's for the municipal table to start having an argument over climate change and what impacts are here, what impacts are there. Like, we look at the erosion of Lac Sioux. Well, Lac Sioux was flooded because of humanity and what we did with damming, and the erosion is occurring because of that. It's not due to climate change. We live on seasonally inundated lakes where waters fluctuate 7, 8 feet annually. That's not climate change. That's just the norm of where we live. I think there's a lot in here that is very nuanced and generalized, and I don't support passing this.
So my question is just like, so in the 7 of the therefore be it resolved, that which one are you against? Are you against all 7, or, you know, like, is there a number that?
I was looking at the discussion, Councillor Van Breda, where the discussion section where the following steps should be taken in 2024. I believe number 3 is one that we should look at. Number 5, funding opportunities. Then energy reductions to complete a report for council. Like, those are things I can get behind. But I don't know that we can sit here and say, oh, we need to reduce our CO2 footprint, but we want more business and more fuel sales at the airport. I think it's very hypocritical of us. They think it's, if we want to put signs up around town that say, oh, no idling, but we have two drive-throughs operating in town, very hypocritical. So those are some of the reasons I don't think this is in our purview. I don't think it should be within our mandate. There are other levels of government that handle this and address it. And I think that's where we should leave it. Thank you.
I agree with Councillor Cassidy on, we don't have the skill set of scientists over the centuries that are predicting weather events. I just researched back in the 70s, there was a Leonard Nimoy talking about the ice age coming in 1978. So I did a little more research, and at the time, there was like 17% of the scientists were looking that way, but the majority were looking at global warming. But if we start getting into this, I think it's just another sector that staff will have to start working on. As far as number 3, I actually reached out to the CAO for the cost of what it costs to have that energy management plan May 19th, 2019. It was in the $60,000 range. If we can get funding to completely cover that, I would consider. There's nothing wrong with updating, but once again, staff knows better than us if it's suitable and relevant at this time. So I guess that's the only question I have for staff.
Thank you. Stop.
Through Mayor Lawrence, just to clarify, the update would be to the municipal energy management plan, not the community-wide energy management plan. So the municipal one was just based on our buildings and our energy consumption, our buildings and our streetlights. So that was all done in-house. This municipal, the community-wide was done through a funding. So that wouldn't be looked at this year. It would just be the municipal one, just to look at, kind of see where we've seen improvements in the last several years.
Councilor Johnson.
And would we not be able to still look at that without declaring a state of emergency? And the other thing about redoing the municipal energy plan is we haven't even finished implementing the last one. Like, is the biomass project completed and up and running yet?
Team members, we have been awaiting our project partners to move that forward. It is moving forward now. My understanding is the concrete pad is prepared, and we're expecting delivery of some of the equipment, and that the unit will be built this summer.
So I sort of believe that we should finish the work on one plan before we start doing a new plan. So
Councilor Van Buren.
Maybe, can we split this up into maybe 2 different motions? Maybe one is about for the climate emergency, and maybe the rest being before it, therefore be it resolved that in numbers, 2 to 7. But are we able to do that? Maybe we have a separate vote on declaring a climate emergency, a separate vote on, again, numbers 2 to 7. Is that possible?
We can, as I've been told many times, we can do whatever we like, almost.
Because I think it's good to have, we are in a climate emergency. Facts being, we live in the north, and, we have windows, we recognize that summers are getting hotter, winters are getting colder, climate is becoming more unpredictable. And I do understand that within our role, within our jurisdiction, we can't solve the climate crisis here at this table, and that's just impossible. I understand that, but if we can add our voice to, again, the other 650 Canadian communities that have already declared a climate emergency, then we're putting pressure on the provincial and federal government to say something has to be done. We need infrastructure funding. We need more help from the feds and the province to ensure that we're able to increase our capacity, increase our resiliency for in this unpredictable weather. Because we know the flood that we had in 2022 is going to happen again. We know that there are going to be forest fires that happened in Pickle Lake a couple of years ago. That's going to happen here. This unpredictable weather is going to happen. It's not, oh, maybe it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Sooner than later, we are going to deal with a lot of these issues going forward. So I feel like this is kind of our moment to say, we want to join the call. We want to join the other 650 Canadian communities and say, putting pressure on our elected officials in the province and in the feds to say, it's time for you to come to the table, help our communities build better, so that then we're not always, you know, every time there's a flood, we have to spend all this money doing that. Every time there's a forest fire, we have to spend all this money and everything. Also too, like, I would like to see the town use less energy, because I think what, we spent $60,000 a year on just the arena for hydro. Am I wrong? Over 60,000?
We spent a lot of number, a large number.
If we can, again, like with the biomass, reduce that number, that's saving the taxpayers money. We're not spending $60,000 a year. If not, there's gonna be more, because hydro rate will just gonna go up. So I don't know, is it possible to maybe split this up into two different motions?
Let's carry on with the discussion and then we'll see. Anything further, council? Okay, well, then I'll propose, and it's interesting listening. I'm no expert, as I think you've correctly said, none of us are. I reckon I've read 20 more books than most people have on climate change, starting about 25 years ago. That doesn't make me an expert, and it depends on which books you read. I'm interested. I'm interested from the perspective. I think Councillor Van Breeden split it up. I think isn't a bad idea. How we split it, I don't know. But I think we split it into something. I think there are many people in Sioux who probably would like to see us do something about climate change, whether it be symbolic or actual. And I don't think that this table is the table where we vote, is climate change, do we believe in it, don't we, or whatever. I don't think that's, is there something that we can do here? So I'm going to propose, take your proposal just a step further, Councillor Rangita, and put it back to staff, and I'll get staff's reaction to defer this and bring it back as perhaps either one or two reports and with some workable things in it. And I think costing is important. Some of these statements are very, very broad, and we're not, some of the 650 municipalities that have done this, I'm sure, are large urban centers with bigger budgets, and they have arborists, and they have climate people, they have budgets that we just don't get anywhere near. So we have to be careful not committing ourselves to actions that are just, they're aspirational and they're never going to happen. I think that's not where we should go. And so, CIO, I'm wondering, and staff, deferring this and bringing it back and not defeating it as such. I think we have an environment committee that's doing good work, and I don't think that defeating it this is I think it's a slap in the face for the environment committee. They've brought this forward as a recommendation for council. They don't have all the sort of the broad view that we do of the municipal things. So I think it's important that we have staff address that broad view and then bring it back in some other related format. CIO, staff with comments.
Female one, certainly, that's very possible. If that's council's wish, staff can do that.
And I realize that that's kind of a broad direction there, but council, any comments? Councilor Costa.
Was this written by staff, or was this written by staff, or was this written by the environmental committee?
Staff.
At the request of the environment committee.
Yeah, through Mayor Lawrence.
So the idea was the environmental committee, but the actual proposal came from staff.
No, sorry, the specifics came from the environment committee. Staff is just the conduit for it.
Okay, yeah.
Just to clarify, I mean, one of the intents here was that 2024 is more of a, like that research kind of year to bring for 2025 budget, kind of actual what the plan, what the intentions are for this climate action plan and the funding opportunities. And that climate action plan will then detail potentially how far we would want to take this as a municipality.
If we declare a climate emergency, does that open up funding? Is there funding for it?
Yeah,
Through Mayor Lawrence, yeah, just in my research, there's a lot of funding opportunities, and definitely, that symbolic gesture would help towards that. Being this partners with this climate change protection program opens up other funding avenues and opportunities. So, making those gestures to help, get those funding opportunities for sure.
If you don't mind, I would like at this meeting today to vote on the climate emergency if possible?
Yes, I've already said I do mind, but I personally, I would like to defer, yes.
Can we maybe defer the other option, but can we vote on the climate emergency this meeting? Because I don't think, we don't need to come back to vote on a climate emergency. I feel like we can do that right here, right now, have a vote.
I'm suggesting we defer, and I'll let council as a whole make that decision. Comments, council? Councilor Leggett.
I'd be willing to vote on the climate emergency today.
So would that be a simple statement that there's a climate emergency?
I think-
That in time, so yeah. I think that's what.
I think for the climate emergency, yes, it's symbolic, but I think we're making a statement by saying that, by, you know, by joining the, yeah, because I will admit, I did read not all of the 650, but there is a list of them. Yes, a number of them are bigger centers that have a lot more money, but we're missing that northern, you know, indigenous, you know, communities that we have in northern. I think Kenora is the only one in the area, I think, that did vote for a climate emergency. So we need more rural, indigenous, and northern communities at the table to say, okay, it's different what Toronto's facing than what we're facing. You know, Toronto does not have forest fires. Toronto does not have a lot of the issues that we have. So I think it's important that we're at the table to ensure that the climate mitigation strategies from the province and the feds are not just geared toward the big states, they're geared towards, you know, communities like us that don't have money just to, you know, spend on this and to spend on that. But, you know, the climate, like, emergency, I think it's important that we vote on this here and today, just to say, yes, council recognizes that climate change obviously is real. Council recognizes that, you know, the work that the environmental community has done, I'll say to Axel has done a lot of work on this. And I applaud her very much for this, and that, you know, voting it today, I think, just sends a symbolic gesture that we recognize what's going on and we want to work on this. And I do understand that the other ones in the discussions, number 2 to 6, and on therefore 2 to 7, that can be tweaked later with everyone. But number 1, we're here right now, declare a climate emergency. It's not going to cost anybody anything. It's not going to ruin staff's time. It's a symbolic gesture that says we recognize what's going on. Let's do it.
Councilor Van Breda, we have 6 members here. If the vote is 3-3, that is defeated. Where does that leave us? Or your position? I just, I don't guarantee that if I call the vote that it's going to, a climate emergency will pass. In part, for me, I would like to have a bit more meaning on what the declaration of that emergency is. I believe, Sioux, you can help me. The declaration of a state of emergency is the purview of who?
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, the declaration of state of emergency under the Emergency Management and Civil Protection Act is the mayor's responsibility and his sole discretion.
And this is a state of emergency, which is different from that.
Yeah, so in this case, they're requesting a climate emergency, so this doesn't necessarily fall within those parameters.
And I guess, that was my understanding. But I just wonder if it weakens the position. So we may have a heat dome in northwestern Ontario next year. Who knows? I think for everything I read, it's quite likely that it's very hot in northeast. Is it considered a heat dome right now? No, I don't think so. But if we had one, we may need to declare a state of emergency. What I don't want to do is do something that council doesn't have quite enough information, perhaps, or it's too all encompassing to get a nuanced and a vote that's meaningful and successful in the long term for the municipality. I don't want to rush something onto the table that is broad and may be defeated, may not. I think there's something that we need to do, and we need to just go fishing a little bit and figure out what that is before I would support it. But this is council's decision. So, Council.
I just want to clarify, so with Councilor Van Breda, so you're basically saying page 1 only. So at the end of page 1, where the colon is and says and, it would just stop at the climate emergency already.
And we've fixed the section, the CO. To just answer the whereas many, or just. Sorry, Councilor Costello, sorry.
Yeah, where it would say at the very last line of page 1, it would say forefront of action of climate change, with many having declared an climate emergency already, period. That would be it.
Where, I'm sorry, where are you on the?
Page 1.
Page 1.
At the end of page 1, like I'm wondering if that's what he's saying, if he just wants a simple declaration, it would have to end at the end of page 1.
Page 1 of the report.
Yes,
I would be, yeah, okay, with that, and then
Yeah.
come back with the other ones at a later date, yeah.
So, sorry, that's what you're asking, you're suggesting? Oh, could Council Crosswell suggest, I'm sorry, I lost track.
I'm just not sure what he's suggesting.
Yeah, no, I'd love to, yeah, I'm in agreement with Councillor Costco that, you know, we can end at the end of page 1, whereas many municipalities across Ontario and Canada understand the major benefits of and the need to be at the forefront of action on climate change, with many have declared a climate emergency already. And then come back with the rest about how to reduce carbon emissions in Sioux in a way that is more digestible and comprehensible. More of a three-dimensional approach of it.
So, sorry, just to be, at the end of page 1, it ends with a whereas statement.
Yeah,
Is there a therefore statement?
Do you, Mayor Lawrence, if I may,
Certainly.
my understanding of what's being proposed is that we would eliminate any therefore be it resolved statements, and that essentially it's just, we're just declaring a climate emergency based on these whereas statements.
Where does it say that we're declaring a climate emergency?
So we would have to, after already, if we stop there, we would also have to include number 1 or the therefore be it resolved that to actually declare the climate emergency. That would have to be added to the resolution if right after already. That would get you into actually making the declaration.
All right, so that's a bit more than a friendly amendment, but it's beginning to do the splitting of the resolution, the report as we talked about, Council Constable.
I just want to say that, like, if this came from the committee and we have these volunteers, it is important that we do recognize, you know, if they want, that we give them something.
yeah,
You know, I don't know whether I'm definitely not prepared to have all the action pieces in there, which have financial repercussions right now. But the concept of just saying that we recognize that there is a climate emergency, you know, and recognizing the work that the members of the committee have done, you know, I think is worthwhile.
thank you.
Okay, and I wasn't suggesting we don't, what I had suggested was we defer. But if council wants to proceed with this, I guess we need to help me, we're doing an amendment to the process here, thanks.
Through Mayor Lawrence, yes. So in this case, we will need a motion to split the motion. If that's ultimately where we're going to go, and I'll walk council through that if that's your direction.
Council? Let's see, Council Costello, Council Bowman. Council Cassidy.
Well, since I lifted this, don't I have to agree
Yes,
to
it'd
it?
be, or how does it work? What is it?
To you, Mayor Lawrence, this is a little bit different because this is more than a friendly amendment. We're actually chopping up the resolution and breaking it into 2 parts. So in this case, we need a separate motion to split the motion, which would be voted on by all of council.
Or motion? No, I'd sooner defer it. I think there's a lot in what's there that I think could be refined to be a little more concise and more applicable to Sioux Lookout. If we're going to look at this, I'd rather see it deferred. I think Mayor Lawrence is correct on that.
Council legal, I guess. So we have, it looks like, I'm sorry, what are we saying no to here?
Team Airlines, my recommendation at this point is I think that there's substantive discussion to warrant a vote on whether or not the motion should be split. I would suggest council take that vote first and then proceed from there. So if the motion is split, then we have two brand new motions on the floor, which council can move, discuss, and either carry or defeat. My recommendation would be the first motion would be the declaration of climate emergency, including first number one under the therefore being resolved, with it ending at declaring a climate emergency already, and then putting the operational clause in there, but the council declares a climate emergency to deepen the municipalities' commitment to protecting community economy ecosystems, reducing our carbon footprint. Wouldn't even necessarily have to go that far. If you just want to go as far as the municipalities to look out declares a climate emergency, period, that could work as well. But the first option, the first question is whether or not we want to split.
Okay, so, go ahead.
May we have a mover and seconder to split the motion with, the original motion, including most of the original, preamble, ending at the second last whereas, and including the therefore be it resolved that the municipality of Sioux declare a climate emergency.
Mover. Councilor Rita, seconder, Councilor Costo. Any further discussion? All in favor? Defeated.
Yeah, so we won't be splitting the motion.
Well, now the next question is, can I suggest deferring?
Yes,
Can I ask for a vote on that?
yes,
Does it have to be a motion or can I just?
yes. In this case, yes.
So my motion would be that the report titled Declare a Climate Emergency be deferred. I'm going to suggest 2 months. Is that, can I ask the staff, it depends on what, deferred several months.
Team Airlines, if I may, I think that part of that will depend on, I'm not sure if the environment committee meets in the summer, so.
Well, 3 Mayor Lawrence, they don't meet in the summer, but I mean, I'm the one who wrote the report and I guess what I need to know is what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned at one point, maybe putting the financial implications in the report, that might be useful as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So,
And I think we need to put that into the motion.
so that, my motion would be that, the climate emergency report be deferred, allowing sufficient time for staff to split the current motion up, such that, financial implications, appropriate actions and financial implications of those actions, could be recommended in a report for council's consideration related to climate action. Is that fair, council? Is that something somebody's willing to move? Or am I moving?
You can move that.
And I'll move that. Is there a second? Councilor Costo, any discussion? Before I call the vote, staff, is it clear enough? No, it's not.
To you, Mayor Lawrence, the draft motion to defer that I've been scribbling as we've been chatting and I'm listening, to request that staff to review further and report back in one or more reports to determine how best to operationalize the climate emergency declaration, including specific actions and costs.
Fair enough, council? Council Cassidy.
Can I just add, can we have a little more of a breakdown on what the funding we open up to through the FCM? Can we have a little more breakdown, or like, what are we accessing? What are we getting? I'm of the opinion that we have 650 municipalities that are declaring a climate emergency. Are they declaring it because they think it is, or are they declaring it to get money? And it kind of washes the impact of it, in my opinion. But I'd like to see that. I'd also like to see potentially a little more refinement to that resolution, because I think there's a lot of things.
The one that's
Some things-
on the floor now.
The one that's the resolution, yeah, the recommendation. I think there's a lot of things that are
Well, I'm sorry, this is the recommendation.
like that, what's on there. I think there's a lot of things that are very broad, and I would like to see that tightened up. So I don't know if we could add that to the motion.
Through Mayor Lawrence, yeah, so, staff's interpretation of the motion interrupted. When I say including specific actions, costs, and I've added and funding opportunities, so with respect to specific actions, that's what I had in mind as well, is that some of these specific recommendations be fleshed out to, so for example, commit to putting climate action at the forefront of decision-making, large and small, working to achieve community well-being and resiliency. Well, what does that actually mean? What does that look like? That I think is what council's looking for a bit more detail on.
Yeah, there's things that are said in there, I feel like counteract our main business or core business of our municipality that I have a concern with too.
We need to restate the current motion that's on the table, or we're okay with discussing. Any further discussion? Then I will call the vote on the deferential motion, the motion to adjourn. All in favor? Carried. And do we have to withdraw the initial motion? We never did do that.
Yes, so, through you, Mayor Lawrence, yes, so, now that the original motion, was split, we basically say it died on the floor, because we split the motion.
It sounds like a real legislature. Died. Thanks, Dan. 7.6. Map tax. The council receives the treasurer's report dated June 19, 2024, respecting an update of the allocation of the municipal accommodation tax by the Municipal Accommodation Tax Committee as information. Move on. Councillor Costco, seconded by Councillor Lego, and so discussion with Councillor Costco.
I lifted this just for an information piece for the public, because I don't think that people realize that, that organizations can go here and get this funding. So I would just like you to read out where the funding went, just for a public information piece, so people realize. And, when we stopped doing donations from taxation, it was with the, idea that people would go and access this funding. So I just want people to be aware of that it's there, it's available to organizations. There's a substantial amount of funding, and it's easy to access.
Councillor Costco, this report is available to the public on the website and through the.
Yeah, I know,
Sure.
but sometimes people are just watching the meeting and not necessarily reading, you know.
I would hesitate to get into making council
Okay, so I
meetings.
just want to make sure
Yeah.
that people realize that there is substantial funding available and that the organization should be accessing.
And to encourage, take a look at or approach the Municipal Accommodation Tax Committee. If you think you have something that's tourism related that might be applicable, and take a look at past projects that have been funded to see the vast array and scope of the nature of projects. Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people understand that there's two parts to the accommodation tax. One part is given to the municipality and one part is given to the committee. And the committee money is accessible to any organization in town that contributes to tourism. And the other money is decided by council how it's spent.
Maybe we can put a little advertising campaign about that, maybe
Just keep keep the information to municipal purview, not the committee's purview. They have,
Okay.
the committee is its own semi-autonomous body, like the library. They run their show. We don't run it.
Would we be able to, as a community, say, running up to the budget time, say, if you're out there and, an organization, there is this funding available to you. Is that possible, or is that overstepping?
Yes.
Mayor Lawrence, to the best of my knowledge, the Municipal Accommodation Tax Committee has in the past and has some additional plans to help advertise, market, promote the availability of the fund. And so if there's an opportunity to amplify that messaging, I think we can do that informally through our channels. But I would support the position that we should allow that committee to function as an arm's length committee that it's intended to.
Yeah, we're not, we like, to me, it's like we go to the library, if we start doing things for the library without them, so it's, the committee is, they have a terms of reference, they're autonomous. We appoint them, but they are autonomous. Okay, thank you. Anything further? Then we'll call the vote. All in favor of receiving the report? Thank you. Carried. And August council meeting date, regular council meeting to be moved to August the 14th, 2024. Moved by Councilor Cassidy, seconded by Councilor Bone. Discussion, Councilor Cassidy.
It may not be feasible for this time around, but I know we do this every year. And CEO clerk help me out here, but what are the options or the thoughts of potentially, do we just not have an August council meeting? It just throwing it out there. It gives staff a bit of a break. There's probably a lot of holidays over the summer trying to get reports in. We all balance our travel schedules around that. I don't know if it's feasible. I don't know if there's time pressing critical things coming, but it's a thought, and it might not happen this year, but it might be something we consider going forward.
Just to relieve staff a little bit, I'll provide a little bit of observation from my years. That August leads to, guess what, September, the fall, budget time. There's often a lot of things, it's just, it might be one or two simple things that need to be moved along. That I think help staff to stay on schedule with other things. That's my observation, but staff. And certainly, sorry, I'll just make another, I know the health unit takes, it's actually, we go July without a board meeting. I'm not sure if KDSB, we take a summer break or not. I don't think there is a summer break, but it's not I don't think it's an outlandish idea unless there's the legislation that says we must meet monthly. Go ahead, Sia.
A few Mayor Lawrence. Staff is happy to move the business of the municipality along at the pace that council makes.
Take council David.
So we know when AMO is every year.
Senior Lawrence, unfortunately, the dates do change a little bit every year, and that's why it's always such a bit of a, now, in the procedure bylaw right now, it does say that automatically it'll be moved to the last week of August, where we are requesting, because we find that that is actually more of a burden than to have it a week earlier, because then you're literally finishing the August council meeting, and 2 days later, the reports for the September meeting are due into our system. So that creates more of a burden for staff. It's easier to move it a week earlier. The other, I mean, again, not having a regularly scheduled meeting in August is certainly an option. What it may give rise to is if there are time sensitive items, then staff will be requesting a special meeting, which sometimes is a little bit more difficult to schedule in the summer because of vacations and holidays and so on. So I suppose to ask a question back to council, which I have no right to do, and I don't expect an answer, but is it easier for members of council to plan for, you know, the second Tuesday in August every year instead of the second Wednesday in August instead of the third? Or would you prefer to just, you know, if something comes up that's urgent, that we just call a special meeting? That's sort of my following back to council.
So just, and the AMO meeting, the annual conference is not as predictable as that. So it may require change in any given year. And I would also just say that I think, although we always seem to get quorum plus, although I think we might have been on the edge once, that for the regular meetings, it's much more predictable and easier to get quorum than for special council meetings. When it's bouncing around, and so, sorry, that's Councilor Cassidy.
No, that's fine, and I just wanted to throw that out there to get staff's take, because I do recognize the work I know that our management puts in and the overtime, and given the time of year, if there was an option to reprieve, especially with the schedule shuffling around with AMO and whatnot, I just wanted to float that idea out there, and if we want to just plan it earlier in August going forward, that's fine too, if that works with staff. I guess just keep it light and down to business, and then bare minimum, and then it'll be easier, so.
Councilor Margaret.
I do applaud all the hard work that the town employees do, but I'm against canceling the August meeting just because it just seems like we had such a hard budget this year, a 4.5 tax increase, and now we're giving ourselves a vacation. I just think that's just bad optics. It's just, you know, we have one meeting a month, one regular council meeting a month, you know. We signed up for this job and, you know, I just, you know, I do appreciate the time, but it's just, I could just see the optics of it. It's just, you know, it's fine to have one, even if it's just a short hour-long council meeting, just to approve something, approve some bylaws. More than happy with that. You know, I do make sure having the only vacation I have is just my friend's wedding. You know, and make sure that if I'm leaving town, it's not at a time that's anywhere close to a council meeting. So, and no, I just can't get around that.
Do you think missing one council meeting would be a vacation? Well, you live in a different world than I do. Councilor Cassidy.
Yeah, it's not about giving us a vacation. I'm not here for the vacation. I'm here to consider the effort we dragged out our budget, how long this year and how many extra hours of overtime were attributed to that from our staff. Every year, this is a discussion point about moving the council meeting in August. This is about managing people's lives and still respecting the process of the municipality and what we need to do. And if there's things that can't be pushed back, then we meet, we get through them. But if there's other things that can wait till September or we can get on the agenda earlier, let's do so. And if people want to plan some vacation or take some of the time off in lieu that they're allotted, they have an opportunity. And this doesn't stop the day-to-day business. There's still enough projects that we have on the go. There's still enough meetings that staff are attending. This isn't a vacation. It is ability for them to have a few less reports or things to answer to, and to give them some probably reprieve and maybe even time to focus on their day-to-day activities. So instead of tolerating us for an extra night or an extra night of the year. So anyway, I'll leave it there. I guess we'll put it on the table and.
All right, so any further discussion? And I think the motion stands on it's on the table, so.
Oh, sorry. Oh, so we're voting on. It makes us clear, we're voting on.
August 14th, regular council meeting. The motion's on the
We're
table.
not voting for August, we're just voting for August 14th, council
We're
meeting.
voting for the motion that's on the table, which is council authorizes the August regular council meeting to be on August 14, 2024. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. No delegations, no presentations, no considerations, so bylaws. Anything additional to what's here? Nope. So bylaw number 58-24, removal of holding symbol being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 85-18, being a comprehensive zoning bylaw for the municipality of Sioux as amended, and bylaw number 60-24, being a bylaw to deem the lots located at 14 King Street and 16 King Street not to be within a registered plan of subdivision. That bylaws number 58-24, 60-24 be read a first, second, and third time and passed. Moved by Councilor Van Breda, seconded by Councilor Lego. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And notice of motion to reconsider. It's not too bad. Motion to amend a matter previously adopted or rescind. Amendments to procedure bylaw to provide for hybrid meetings. Filed by Councilor Joan Cosco on June 4, 2024. Whereas council determines the calling, place, and proceedings of council meetings via its procedure bylaw. And whereas council adopted bylaw number 09-20 being a bylaw governing the calling, place, and proceedings of meetings of council, and council appointed boards, commissions, and committees on November 18, 2020. And whereas council has previously considered the implementation of procedures to enable certain members of council to participate in meetings virtually and others participate in person, i.e. hybrid meetings. And whereas council previously decided on March 15, 2023, via resolution number CLO 75, 2023, to retain the status quo respecting the method of holding council meetings, see attached, and whereas audiovisual equipment upgrades have been undertaken in council chambers to enable hybrid meetings, thereby removing the previous cost barrier to the implementation of such a meeting method. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the Municipality of Sioux directs staff to draft revisions to its procedure bylaw to add the hybrid meeting method, which would have the effect of enabling some members to participate electronically and some members to participate in person simultaneously, and will provide the same option for council appointed boards, commissions, and committees. And be it further resolved, the council directs the clerk to develop for council's consideration procedures respecting hybrid meeting participation. Moved by Councilor Pasco, and is that where it ends right now? Because it's reconsideration. Okay, so that would be forwarded to a subsequent meeting.
Through you, Mayor Lawrence, yes, this will be on the agenda, for the July regular council meeting.
Not the August meeting, that's been, no, I'm just kidding.
September.
The vacation one.
Yeah, good. So that, yeah, on the July meeting, thank you. Good. Outside resolutions, ADMA resolution. Whereas there are about 5 district homes in the province. I think this is, if I'm sorry, I'm just going to, district homes for the 8.
Yes, so through you, Mayor Lawrence, this is the resolution that we received from KDMA.
So
Yes.
can I do a friendly amendment? So whereas there are about 5 district homes for the aged. And even that,
In the subject line.
in the province, and the municipalities in the district contribute proportionally to the cost of operating one or more homes within their respective district. And whereas there needs to be regional variation in the provincial land tax to have flexibility and to make funds available for publicly funded homes in the area. And whereas there currently is no mechanism to direct specific supports for tax dollars from unorganized territories to the unique needs of their unincorporated area. And whereas long-term care is not unique to one specific jurisdiction, and that need is as simple as the support for other essential services such as public health and social services. And whereas unincorporated territories without municipal organization or TUMO within the District of Kenora and District of Kiiwetinoong pay for integrated social services, including community housing, early years services, employment and financial support services, social housing, emergency medical services, land ambulance, and community paramedicine services, but do not pay for district homes for the aged. Therefore, be it resolved that the municipality of Sioux supports the District Municipal Association's resolution and request for the province to change the policy for provincial land tax revenues and include TUMO in the funding support for the home for the aged, which would reduce the support required from municipalities in the Kenora District Municipal Association. We need a mover for this, a mover. Councillor Cassidy and a seconder, and seconded Councillor Bone, and these, we discussed this and decided on it in the same way as, okay, we don't very often have outside resolutions that comes, just checking the procedure. Discussion, Councillor Van Green.
No, I'm very in support of this because doing like the research, so Sioux was the community with the biggest population increase as a percentage in the 2021 census at 10.8% population increase from 2016. But the biggest population of the number is actually unorganized Kenora district area. And I thought that's all during the district, which, you know, I don't blame people for moving out to unorganized territory to escape property taxes, but another talk for another day. But first of all, hopefully it'd be 5 home, hopefully it'd be 6 soon when here in Sioux. Really hope so. And 2, I'm gonna say I did tell this with Doug and Brian too, I'll say that in public. The next Kenora of the Age budget meeting, I do want to be there. I do want to talk about Sioux contribution of over $500,000 a year to the Kenora District Home of the Age. Hopefully get a positive reaction from that. But I think that, you know, this is 100% in favor of it because, you know, the Kenora unorganized was the biggest population increase in terms of numbers, right? So that's less people paying into taxes, less people paying into municipal budgets. That's it, thank you.
Before you commit to going to the Kenora District Homes for the Age meeting, can you please check with me and CAO on the process for that, or if it's appropriate when the councilor goes?
Yeah, so we gotta go, I'm saying it publicly, I know it's not for a while.
We do have some correspondence, and we started a discussion with them about our levy. So
It's good to know
just
that.
want, would like you to check in first. Councilor Cassidy.
Yeah, so I'm guessing based on them passing this, that anyone even in unorganized can still be, they use the service essentially. So if they're using the service, they should be paying into it. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's fair.
It's a bit of a hodgepodge because at KDSB, there is a TUMO, in fact, TUMO at KDSB it's almost half the budget comes from the TUMO through the province. Why not the homes for the aged as well? And I mean, in our area, we don't, Sioux doesn't have any townships without municipal organization. That was essentially when our boundary expanded in 1996, 98. All that was taken in. Dryden, Kenora, and Red Lake do have townships without municipal organization around them. So we're a bit unique that way. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried, thank you. Council reports. Then I'll start at the other end of the table. Councilor Van Breda.
Thank you. What I've done in the past week, so attended the Pride flag raising in the declaration of June being US LGBTQIA Pride Month. Thank you to Councilor Tinson, who took over the place of Mayor Lawrence. We had our environmental committee. So again, so we're off for July, August. We'll be back in September. Hosted the Queer Adult Social at the Legion for Pride Month. It was actually a lot of fun. We had people there from outside of Sioux who came as well, which I think that's a good positive impact. Volunteered for Walleye Weekend. I actually will admit I had a lot of fun, and will for sure be there next year as well. Attended the budget meeting as well. Finalized the design for the new Hudson welcome sign. So it's been a long time coming, but Hudson will get a new welcome sign. We had 3 public engagement meetings at the Lost Lake Center. And it was a lot of work, a lot of emails, lots of calls, but got the design finalized. And then today had the renaming ceremony for hostels 2 and 3 at Slipna. Hostel 2 which is the old Days Inn, being renamed for the Senate 5 who came to maybe did a hunger strike, which led to the Scott McCain Bain report talking about access inequality in the Sioux area, which led to the development of Slipna. Hostel 3 being renamed after community health heroes, and luckily we had 3 awards. 2 of the recipients were there in person to accept their awards. So it was a very nice day, and thanks Doug for coming and making a speech. It was really well attended, and that was my month.
Thank you, Councilor Bull.
Special council meeting April 29th for the budget, special council meeting May 1st, boat launches. Special council meeting June 10th, budget. Committee of adjustment April 2nd. 2 consents and 1 minor variance. I went and checked out the walleye tournament on Sunday. And lots of people, it was a beautiful day, but a little cool. And a lot of people, 85 boats, I believe, teams. On June 15th, I guess it's just past Saturday, attended the food bank bail in jail. I made a donation to keep Mayor Lawrence and 3 of his co-conspirators in the slammer. And then regrets for my meetings, April 17th, May 15th. Maybe if August gets moved, I'll just show up by myself and make up for it. But the April meeting, I was involved with the Thunder Bay Bombers and the finals in Cam River, games 1 and 2. I said, who got owners?
She said Thunder Bay Bombers.
I used to be, I'm an old guy, right? I used to be a Thunder Bay Bombers. And, that's fun. And, then attended, Centennial Cup, May 6th to May 16th, so that took me out through the main regular meeting, but, Councilor Cassidy was down there with me and just the notoriety of Sioux being down there, the fan base that was there. I don't know how much money we would have to spend on advertising to, you know, showcase Sioux, Ontario. The boys, the 25 of them were just complete gentlemen. Kids that played in the team previous years showed up and were supporting us wearing their jerseys from the year before, so. It was a really nice, it was a really nice time. That's it.
Thank you, Councillor Gospel.
I met with Brian, the CAO, on May 29th. And Brian and I did a visit to Pelican High Peak Healing Lodge with the intention of creating a partnership with a rec center for youth programming. That is an epic facility in our community, and we just want to have the opportunity to highlight it and give it the focus that it deserves. And I think they have a lot to offer to us.
If I may, and this is highly irregular, but we did have a couple of follow-up meetings as well. So thank you again for that introduction. And we have now confirmed that for the summer day camp program, our program participants will be there Tuesday mornings, Thursday mornings, also participating in their program as well.
Yeah, and for completely free. So that organization has so much to offer our community. So we're really lucky that Brian and his team have pulled that together. So thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. That's an idea I had and you ran with it and I really appreciate that. I also attended the budget meeting. The Truth and Reconciliation meeting got canceled. That's why I met with Brian again in order to bring the hybrid model forward. So our Truth and Reconciliation work can move forward. I spent a lot of time, we're trying to do a promotional campaign for the Truth and Reconciliation. So I spent a lot of time on the phone calling community organizations to see if they're interested in partnering with us. And we've had a really good response to that. Everyone loves the idea. We've had a lot of people commit right away. Other people are doing research and a lot of ideas have come out of that. So we didn't have a meeting, so it sort of delayed us. So hopefully that our meeting next week will run on Tuesday and we'll be able to move forward. And I also donated to get Mayor Lawrence out of jail. Out.
Thank you, Councillor Coastal. Councillor Cassidy.
Yeah, for my last month, a bit tardy again with my attendance, but yeah, I was with Council Bone. I mentioned I was in Oakville at Centennial Cup. A lot of what he said was very well put together. I think the one game we had 200 fans at it, and tournament organizers were, fair to say, blown away with the support. They couldn't believe it. Anyone that had any ties to Sioux Lookout that was even that they traveled down or that they were in the area, they came out to support the team. It was well noted by many of their organizations. It was the best showing of an SIJHL team since they moved to this format, as far as goal differentials and everything like that. So it was fantastic. So as you could imagine, a lot of my time even before was spent planning for that, executing, and now the wrap up and start planning and preparing for the next year. So but outside of that, had a pace meeting, Sioux Lookout Hydro tomorrow. Pace meeting is supposed to be another pace meeting supposed to be last night, but it got canceled. So we're yeah, that's pretty much it for my next month or so.
Thank you, Councillor Nagel.
Yeah, attended the special budget council meeting and last Tuesday attended the LCC meeting. Not much going on there. And again, they're off for the July and August as well, so there'll be no meetings for that. And after 14 years of running the Wally weekend, I participated in it. So right in the middle, that's where we ended up. So had fun.
Okay, got your
40.
placement. Well done. Thanks, council. And as usual, KDSB activities, board meeting and various committee meetings. Northwestern Health Unit board meeting and various committee meetings. I attended, I did a physician recruitment, meeting at the hospital. Which was great, and I just thank Council Timpson for, and others, I think Council Valdez, Council Costa, who are doing that on an ongoing basis. I just filled in for one here. Various meetings with the CAO, met with Eric Melillo, our MP, and have another meeting next week. Talked about the Northern Allowance and a few other things, and of course, they're not as easy for him to put forward as he has one special member, an opportunity to put a special private member's bill forward, which he did, and it was actually an idea that came out of Silicon. But that's it. That's all he gets per session or per term. Really, I think it's one, and even that's a lottery. So he's aware of the Northern Allowance, and we'll take it forward through his other Northern LPs, and we'll see where it goes. But it won't be this until the next government, I think. Slam grand opening, attended that in Hudson. They've added another great building to Hudson, a residence that was built by the trainees for female trainees, that's residents. Attended the Association of Local Public Health Agencies, the Alpha Conference in Toronto. Attended an AMO, actually attended this, I attended virtually an AMO Health Task Force meeting, and that was on the opioid crisis. We're having, I think, on July 3rd, another one, which will be on public health standards. And I think it's a meeting with the Chief Medical Officer of Health of Ontario, Dr. Kieran Moore. And among other things will be his balancing act, his report to the legislature, which was about mental health and addictions. And unfortunately, I have a seat at that table. There's only, I think, 8 politicians, municipal politicians at the table. And it's good to be able to take things that are of specific interest to Sioux and our region to that table. Special council meetings. I didn't realize there were as many as you listed. I attended a few, yeah. Confederation College, I think it was last week, I attended. The president of the college comes annually, does a tour annually and presents an annual report. As usual, I asked him more programs in Sioux, and as usual, I got kind of wishy-washy answers, but you can always, we ask. A couple of media interviews in the bulletin about the budget. I didn't blow that, but a CBC interview, CBC Thunder Bay on the LCBO access closure. And I felt like I just did a terrible job on that interview. So if you read anything or hear anything, I apologize. As mayor, I was put in jail by for our fundraiser for the food bank, and I thank everybody who participated and helped me out. See some staff there who thought enough of me to contribute to my getting out of jail. Council, mixed feelings. So last weekend I attended a Garba Eve dinner with the Indian community of the growing Indian community of Sioux, and that was a very festive dinner, nice event. Wausau graduation was a few days ago. Attended that at the Legion, 22 graduates this year from Wausau. I think they had over 200 people in their program now. Slipna Hostel renaming today. Thank you, Councillor Van Breda. You were sort of the MC for that event.
Well, it's whole.
Yeah, that was a good event. Our MPP Saul Mamakwe was there, and he said a few words, as did I. And that's it. And I should have known at the beginning of the meeting that Councillor Timpson sent regrets for she's in Toronto on let's just say family business. That's the month that was, and now we're ready to move into. Oh, I'm sorry, Councillor Timpson.
Congratulations on your distinguished service award as well.
Yeah.
You all get the same reward because all I did was, it's just for doing my job, just the way I look at it. So you're all doing your jobs, you deserve awards as well. Thank you. Thanks very much. So motion to move into closed session, and maybe then we'll take a brief 3-minute break. The council moves into closed session at 6:45 PM to discuss matters of the general nature as noted below. Subject matter relating to a proposed acquisition of disposition of land by the municipality pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended. Section 239(2)(c), 3 items, Hillcrest development proposals. 2, property sale on Hudson. 1, subject matter relating to a trade secret or scientific, technical, commercial, or financial information that belongs to the municipality or local board that has monetary value or potential monetary value pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, section 239(2)(j), 1 item, matters respecting Sioux Hydro Incorporated, and subject matter relating to labor relations or employee negotiations pursuant to the Municipal Act 2001 as amended, section 239(2)(d), 1 item, collective bargaining update. Moved by Councillor Lego, seconded by Councillor Cassidy. All in favor? Carried. We'll come back into closed session in a few minutes. Thank you.